Yo, what up, everybody? It is your boy Fitzmonk TV here, aka G133. I am back here tonight with the Legit Shoot podcast, here with your Smackdown review and results for February 21st, 2021. Thank you guys for joining me right here on the podcast tonight. Excuse me. And this was basically your go home show for Super Showdown. And gotta be honest with y'all, because I'm always honest. This show sucked. This show sucked. Alright? Honestly, y'all, I wouldn't blame you if you didn't watch tonight, because you really didn't miss much of anything. Well, I think the only thing you really missed was probably them probably spoiling half of the Goldberg versus Bray Wyatt match. That's probably the only thing that you guys missed. You know, in the main event tonight, we saw Goldberg and Bray Wyatt have their face-off, and I personally believe that they just revealed like half the match itself in that 2-minute interaction that Goldberg and the Fiend had. It was okay, but honestly, the show was just not it tonight. I wasn't feeling it. We had, there was a lot that was advertised for tonight's show. We had, of course, Goldberg being there tonight to encounter the Fiend. Everything they did with Goldberg tonight, I expected. I am legit not surprised. Anything you saw tonight with the Goldberg and Fiend segment, everything from top to bottom, you could have seen coming from a mile away. They didn't do anything that stood out to me. There was nothing special about that segment at all. It was just like, okay, Goldberg's here to, promote the match, promote Super Showdown. And, I knew Goldberg was probably going to get the upper hand on the Fiend. You weren't going to have the Fiend put Goldberg in the mandible claw. At least not tonight. They'll most likely save that for Super Showdown. But they weren't going to do that tonight. They were going to make Goldberg look strong going to the pay-per-view as the challenger. So they did nothing special with that. We had a 8-man tag team match. Miz and Morrison and Ziggler and Rude going up against the Usos and the New Day. Ooh, there was nothing special about that, man. Tag team wrestling on the main roster is just so bad. Tag team wrestling in general, and mostly throughout the company, is just not good. NXT's tag team division is pretty weak at the moment. Raw and SmackDown's tag team divisions are not where they need to be. Like, tag team wrestling, don't even get me started, on the women's tag team division. That's not even a division at this point. Asuka and Kairi Sane are holding titles that have no meaning, absolutely no meaning, on the main roster. So the 8-man tag team match really didn't mean nothing. What else happened on the show? Otis and Mandy Rose, you guys know, that was the big topic. We discussed that in depth on last week's review. And SmackDown review last week did pretty well based on our standards, but they kind of continued that storyline tonight, but they really didn't do much. I don't know if they're waiting till after Super Showdown to continue the storyline. But yeah, nothing much happened with Otis and Mandy Rose, but we'll discuss that. There was a Sympathy of Destruction tag team match between Elias and Strowman going up against Nakamura and Cesaro, which was actually not bad. May have been the best moment of the night, so we'll discuss that. Like I said, I'm having a real trouble remembering what happened on the show. Oh, we had the Bella Twins. Yeah, the Bella Twins. The Bella Twins made their return tonight to, announce that they're getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. We'll talk about that on WWE's favorite talk show, A Moment of Bliss. You guys can hear the sarcasm in my voice. And finally, we had We had a number one contenders match for Bayley SmackDown Women's Championship, which is going to be defended at Super Showdown. It's going to be Bayley versus Naomi. Naomi. We had Naomi versus Carmela to determine that match. Naomi came out the winner. Even though Naomi is the right winner in this situation, but we're basically going to a Naomi and Bayley match with absolutely no build, and it's already been basically confirmed based off. And this is, I don't know what WWE was thinking tonight. They basically confirmed that after Super Showdown at the Elimination Chamber, we are going to be getting 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 Elimination Chamber matches. Great job there. Great job there. And I saw some idiots on social media saying, "Oh, why are you complaining that we're getting 3 Elimination Chamber matches? Huh? Isn't the Elimination Chamber the name of the pay-per-view? Huh? If that's the name, every single match should be an Elimination Chamber match." And I was just thinking, you casual-minded buffoon. Like, no. Having too many matches of the same stipulation, the same match type, takes away from the match itself. You should know, WWE usually does this. They usually have 2 Elimination Chamber matches, which is perfect. Back in the day, back in the 2000s, they would usually do one for the WWE title and one for the World Heavyweight title. Over the year, they've changed it. Last year we had the Women's Tag Team Championships defended in the title, that was when Sasha and Bayley were crowned the inaugural Women's Champions. We've had number one contenders matches in the Elimination Chamber, which I have no problem with. But having 3 is overkill. And there's only one reason why we are getting 3 Elimination Chamber matches this year. Charlotte Flair. And this tells me how much WWE messed up having Charlotte Flair win the Rumble. Like I've been bitching and moaning about the last couple weeks. Charlotte should have never won the Women's Royal Rumble. Should have never won it. Shayna Baszler should have won it. Charlotte didn't need to. If you truly wanted to do Charlotte versus Rhea Ripley for the NXT title at WrestleMania, you could have booked that without having Charlotte win the Rumble. You could have had Charlotte gone to NXT. You could have had Rhea Ripley just come to Raw. You could have done. There was many options. There was no need for Charlotte to win. Charlotte's already a star. We already know Charlotte. This should have been for Shayna Baszler to come out looking like a badass. Shayna Baszler should not have gotten eliminated by Charlotte in the Women's Royal Rumble. But there's nothing we can do about it. But now WWE has to deal with the consequences. Because now we're getting 3 Elimination Chamber matches. 3. Not 1, not 2, but 3. Great job there, WWE. Great job. Anyway, we'll discuss those. All right. But the main thing, because even though I didn't really care about SmackDown this week, I am very, very excited for next week's SmackDown for 2 reasons. We're going to be in Boston. I will most likely, because anything can happen, I will most likely be at the show. I have not been at a SmackDown in almost a year. I don't go to many WWE events. But I will most likely be at SmackDown next week. So that should be exciting. John Cena, one of my all-time favorites, he's finally coming back. So definitely excited for that. And Sasha Banks. I think next week we will finally see Sasha Banks make her return to WWE TV. We have not seen her because of her ankle injury per storyline. I think this is more just a way, because Sasha has been at all the SmackDown tapings. She was there last week. She was there the week before. She was there this week. She's just been backstage. She just hasn't been wrestling. And I think next week we'll finally see Sasha make her return especially now because Sasha and Bailey has been rumored heavily for WrestleMania. And the thing about it is, if you look at the SmackDown Women's roster, there's nobody else for Bailey to face at WrestleMania. She's faced everybody on that division. She's faced Alexa. She's faced Nikki. She's faced Lacey Evans. She's faced Carmela. She's facing Naomi at Super Showdown. There's really nothing else. Nothing else. No other match really that could get you excited. Sasha versus Bailey is the big money match for WrestleMania. All right, I think Sasha versus Bailey, if booked correctly, could be the main event for WrestleMania. It won't, because you know how Vince operates. You know it's either going to be McIntyre versus Lesnar or Roman versus the Fiend. But that's how highly Sasha and Bailey is. We all want it. It's the big money match. It's the biggest match you could put in the women's division right now, other than Becky and Shayna. So I think that's the road we're going. I think you're going to start booking that next week. Because if WWE is indeed giving us 3 Elimination Chamber matches, Sasha's going to be in the chamber. And that's where we're finally going to see, most likely, I think, Bailey turn on Sasha, turning Sasha babyface and leading us to WrestleMania. That's what I think. All right? And plus, it's Boston. It's Sasha's hometown. It would be the best place to start teasing Sasha's babyface turn. Because no matter what, Sasha's not going to get booed in Boston. Sasha does get booed in general. But she's not going to get booed in her hometown. Like, common sense here, people. Come on. But anyway, that's the big things. Let's get into SmackDown, alright? That's just my little monologue, my little quick 10-minute spiel like I do every single week. Anyway, the show started off with the 8-man tag team match between New Day, the Usos, Miz and Morrison, and Rude and Ziggler. So the Usos came out, and I actually enjoyed this. I kind of enjoyed this little segment. I love the Usos. Anybody that watches me knows that the Usos and the Undisputed Era are my 2 favorite tag teams in WWE. So the Usos came out talking about how they weren't on SmackDown last week because Miz and Morrison, they attacked him a couple weeks ago, and how they were talking all this crap on social media when the Usos weren't there. But now they are here this week, and they're ready to fight. They promised a super kick party, and they said everyone was invited. And the New Day came out, and the New Day and the Usos had a really good, back and forth. I love both these 2 teams. Love them both. Do I want to see the Usos versus the New Day? Because there's some rumors saying that we could get this match at WrestleMania for the SmackDown Tag Team titles. I don't want to see it. Because as good as these 2 teams are, and as great matches they've had, we've seen it enough. We've seen it enough. At this point, the Usos versus the New Day is basically the 2020 version of John Cena versus Randy Orton back in the 2000s. All right, if you've been watching WWE as long as I have, I've been watching it for 2 decades, right? John Cena versus Randy Orton in the 2000s, man, the 2010s, 2009, 2010. You can go all the way back from 2007 to 2015, about an 8-year span. Go back and look how many times John Cena and Randy Orton faced. No matter if it was Cena versus Orton, with Orton being a heel, no matter if it was Cena versus Orton with Orton being a babyface, just go back and see how many times those 2 faced. It was annoying as hell. Yes, they could put good matches with each other, and yes, they're one of the better rivalries in WWE history. But there came a point where every time we saw Cena versus Orton, we were just like, again? What can these 2 do that we haven't already seen? That's what I feel when we get New Day and the Usos. I love John Cena and Randy Orton. They're 2 of my all-time favorites. I love the New Day and the Usos. They're 2 of my favorite tag teams. But we've seen it enough. And as much as the Usos and the New Day, that would be a fantastic match. Because those 4 always deliver. And don't forget about Xavier Woods. But we don't want to see it. We don't want to see it. All right? What I've been saying for months is, I think at WrestleMania, it's time for the Heavy Machinery. I think it's time for Heavy Machinery to become champs. I don't know if that's going to happen, especially it seems like WWE has Otis focus on this Mandy Rose situation? I don't know, but I think, Heavy Machinery, they're one of the most popular teams on the main roster. WrestleMania would be the perfect time to crown them. Make a new star. Make new stars. That's what I would do at WrestleMania. You know, if Miz and Morrison win the tag team titles at Super Showdown, I'm not gonna complain. I will not complain. I don't mind Miz and Morrison as a team. You know, and I'll be a little bit shocked because I think the New Day are gonna win. But if Miz and Morrison win the tag team titles at Super Showdown, I will not be surprised. I won't be mad. Nah, because I think most likely what's gonna do, we're gonna get a triple threat or a fatal four way at WrestleMania. All right, I think it's most likely gonna be the New Day. No matter who's the champion, it's gonna be the New Day going up against the Usos, going up against Miz and Morrison in a triple threat match, or possibly a fatal four way with Heavy Machinery involved. That's what I think's gonna happen. One of those two options. You know, um, who will win that match? I don't know yet. It's good. Let's wait till Super Showdown to see what happens. All right. But the 8-man tag team match, it wasn't a bad match. I just didn't really care because it didn't really mean much to me. Near the end of the match, we seen Morrison. We saw Morrison go after Big E, and Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode teamed up on Jimmy Uso with a zigzag spinebuster combo. Pretty good move. Then Jey Uso breaks up the pin at 2.5, and then he hits Roode with a super kick and gets the win for the babyfaces. That's about it. Wasn't a bad tag team match. Just didn't really mean much to me. Moving on, we had Tucker. Tucker confronts Fire and Desire about last week's Valentine's Day thing, and we had Renee Young interviewing Lacey Evans. So basically, they showed a recap of what happened. We went in depth about this last week. I feel so bad for my boy Otis. Still 1 week later, I'm still feeling the pain, especially, with what happened tonight. But they showed a recap of what happened between Otis and Mandy Rose from, back in December with the Secret Santa all the way till Valentine's Day. And, if you don't feel bad for Otis after watching, the recap of everything that's happened to this point, man, you're not a human being. I'm sorry, you're just not. But we see Tucker. Tucker approaches Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, and it seems like Mandy hasn't had any contact with Otis over the last week. But we see Mandy and Sonya, they're talking backstage, and then Tucker is defending his tag team partner, calling Otis the nicest man he knows. And one thing that's very interesting that I think could play a little bit into the future of this storyline, it's basically a love triangle at this point. We have Otis, we have Mandy, and we have Dolph Ziggler. The pretty boy, the guy who gets all the girls, takes the girls away from, less handsome men like Otis. You know what I mean? So basically, Tucker basically states, he asks Rose why did Rose text Otis that she was running behind if she was already at the restaurant, which is something interesting to note because we talked about how, you never leave a girl waiting at the restaurant, and last week, Mandy was at the restaurant for maybe a good 30 minutes before Otis got there. So we were like, damn, Otis, you're making a mistake. Why are you making Mandy wait? But they revealed here that Mandy Rose supposedly texted Otis saying that she was going to be she was running late. But it doesn't make sense because why would she say she was running late if she was already at the restaurant? This is what I think, and I think if you guys are paying attention to what I'm saying, you guys can figure out where I'm going with this. Dolph Ziggler, because remember, it doesn't really make sense that Dolph Ziggler was the guy who texted Otis. What am I saying? Scratch that. It doesn't really make sense that Dolph Ziggler showed up to the restaurant out of nowhere. that he just randomly happened to be at the same restaurant that Mandy and Otis were supposed to have their date per storyline, right? How would Dolph know? Unless he knew that Otis and Mandy were going to be at that restaurant via some kind of information. What I think they're doing here is somehow, some way, Ziggler was either, was able to get into Mandy's phone when she wasn't looking, or, he was able to hack Mandy and be able to impersonate Mandy and get the information from Otis himself, and that's how he knew what was going on. And I think Dolph texted Otis as Mandy, saying she was gonna run late, making Otis run late, thinking that everything would work out. Because Otis never knew that Mandy was already at the restaurant. That's why he showed up so late, giving Dolph the time to swoop in when Mandy was already at the restaurant, be able to take Mandy from Otis. That's what I think happened here. And I think that's where we're going with this. Eventually, Dolph is going to be exposed because it's going to be, the truth's going to come out that it was Dolph. Dolph was the guy who went into Mandy's phone, hacked her somehow, and told Otis that she was going to be late when Mandy never meant to send that text, forcing Otis to be late and, giving Dolph the advantage, the opportunity to steal Mandy from Otis. And that's where everything's going to, blow up in Dolph's face, and that's where we're going to finally see Mandy and Otis come together. It's bound to happen. WWE's been, already marketing Mandy and Otis as a couple. If you guys have seen, like, the WWE card game, right? They have like a special card for couples. Mandy and Otis are one of the couples in the game. So definitely, I think this is going to eventually lead with Mandy and Otis, making up once the truth comes out, and then things will be better. We did see later on in the show, Mandy was waiting at the arena door, waiting for an Uber so she could go back to her hotel, whatever. And then Dolph just happened to be there, and he's like, "Oh, Mandy, you leaving? What are you doing here? And Mandy's like, "Oh yeah, I'm just waiting for my Uber." He's like, "Oh, no need for that, just ride with me." And then we see Otis come out of the corner, and he's just so sad and depressed, man. If you don't feel for my main man Otis, man, it's sad. It's sad. I feel bad for my boy Otis, but don't worry. The truth will come out, Otis. The truth will come out, and you will get the girl of your dreams. Don't worry. It doesn't always work out that way in the movies and in real life, but for Otis, we just gotta be patient. There's hope for Otis. There's hope. Also, Renee Young did a backstage interview with Lacey Evans. I didn't give a shit about this, because why would I? Why would I care about a Lacey Evans interview? Someone tell me that, please. Someone tell me that. Exactly. But basically Lacey Evans talked about her past, how she was a bully. So yeah, 3 months later, right? Because here's the thing. You wanted me to cheer Lacey Evans, and boo Sasha Banks and Bayley. When, remember, wasn't it just a couple months ago, last year, when Lacey was feuding with Becky and all that, and she would wipe napkins in her armpit to throw them in, at her opponents and do all this other crap as she healed, and all of a sudden, she makes a full 180, and I'm just supposed to cheer her like, "Ooh, let's go, Lacey! Yes, yes, yes! No, no, no!" All right, now all these months later, right? Because Lacey's been a babyface since I think Survivor Series, right? It's been about 3-4 months of this bullcrap. So now you want me to start believing in Lacey Evans. Now you want to, tell me why they had Lacey Evans become a babyface. Whatever. No, I don't care. I'm never going to cheer Lacey Evans. She's better as a heel. Turn her back into a heel. I can't stand Lacey as a babyface. She's terrible. Anyway, she talked about, her past being a heel, being a bully, and then how she vowed to be better moving forward. And basically, she said she's focused on the Elimination Chamber. Focus on the Elimination Chamber, where she will battle with 5 other women to earn a shot for Bayley's Smackdown Women's Championship at WrestleMania. So I don't know if she was meant to say that. I'm gonna assume she was, because why would she just say that? Renee said, "What's next for Lacey Evans?" You know, if there wasn't already two Elimination Chamber matches announced before this, I wouldn't have cared. But this tells me we're gonna get three Elimination Chamber matches, which is very unnecessary in my eyes. But hey, whatever. What do I know, right? What do I know? Um, but yeah, it seems like we're getting three Elimination Chamber matches, and I don't, I really don't know, what WWE's plan with it. Well, I kind of do, but I'm trying to figure it out right now, because the way this show is going to be structured, if you're going to have three Elimination Chamber matches, that means what other matches are you going to have at the Elimination Chamber? You know what I mean? Because the Elimination Chamber matches take about 40 minutes to an hour. Like, they're not, short matches. They take a lot of time, and that's why you usually only do two. If you're going to have three, that's almost, that's 2.5 hours worth of Elimination Chamber matches. Are you going to have a 4 hour pay-per-view? Like, what are you going to do? We know Brock Lesnar's not defending the WWE title at the Chamber. We know that, all right? It's Brock Lesnar. Super Showdown is basically serving as Lesnar's Elimination Chamber defense. Because once he beats Ricochet at Super Showdown, he's focused on McIntyre for Mania. He's not defending at the Chamber. We know that there's going to be Becky's Elimination Chamber match to determine her number one contender for WrestleMania, which most likely Shayna will dominate and win. We also know that we're going to get what's his name? We're getting. I'm trying to remember his name. I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah, Bray Wyatt. See, WWE's messing with my head tonight. I can't even think. We're getting Bray Wyatt's Elimination Chamber match, where they're gonna determine his number one contender for WrestleMania. There's no champions defending their titles in the Elimination Chamber this year, which doesn't make any sense. It seems like they're just using the chamber to determine number one contenders for Mania. Since McIntyre's the only number one contender right now for the big four championships, the two women's championships and the two world championships. All right, which we most likely will be Roman winning that, unless John Cena or something changes. Which I wouldn't mind actually. I would not mind John Cena being the Elimination Chamber match. Anyway, back to the women's championship. So the way I see it here with Lacey Evans, all right, we're gonna get three Elimination Chamber matches. What else are you gonna have on that show? Becky's not defending her title. Lesnar's not defending. Bayley's not gonna defend because Bayley's gonna defeat Naomi, and Bray Wyatt's not gonna defend. What are you gonna put like the other mid card titles? You're gonna give them some spotlight. Will we see Strowman defend maybe against like a Nakamura? I don't know. I don't think so because Strowman's rumored to be in the men's Elimination Chamber match. You know what I mean? And United States champion. Who's the United States champion on? Andrade. I could definitely see Andrade. I think because we've heard a lot of rumors. Andrade's days as U.S. champion are numbered. Right now, WWE has plans to take the United States Championship from Andrade when he comes back from suspension. Andrade is not walking the WrestleMania United States champion. They're probably going to give it to either Humberto, maybe Angel Garza, maybe Rey Mysterio, something like that. So it's going to be interesting to see where they go. I don't know what other matches you're going to do at the Elimination Chamber. I don't know. There's a chance that the Elimination Chamber might have only 4 or 5 matches if we're really going to get 3 chamber matches. Because people need to realize chamber matches take a long time. Long time. But in terms of the SmackDown Women's Championship, Bayley's going to defend. Alright? Bayley's going to defend against Naomi. She's going to most likely win. And I can bet the 5 competitors right now. Alexa Bliss, Lacey Evans, Sasha Banks, Naomi, Carmela, and either Nikki Cross or Dana Brooke. One of those. Or maybe Sonya or Mandy. something like that. Who cares of who's the sixth competitor? You know, I think that's what it is, and they're gonna use this to finally set up Sasha versus Bayley. If Bayley's not defending the title inside the chamber, they're gonna have Sasha win the chamber, and then have either Bayley, attack Sasha after the match, or do something like that to figure out who's gonna be, determined, or you guys know, the kick off the Sasha versus Bayley feud for Mania. So that's why I expect Sasha Banks to return next week on SmackDown. Because I expect next week they're probably going to announce both the participants for the chamber match for both the Universal and SmackDown Women's Championship. Because you guys got to remember, Super Showdown is this week, right? Next Thursday. WWE only has 9 days after that till the Elimination Chamber. They have no time. No time. Which is why, WWE is stupid for doing a Saudi Arabia show right before a pay-per-view. You get it, because the day after Super Showdown, you have SmackDown in Boston. And we don't even know what's going to happen, because there's the possibility that these superstars could get stuck in traffic, or there could be plane issues, or we don't know, because remember what happened last November when they had Crown Jewel and NXT had to make the rescue. You guys see where I'm going with all this. So it's going to be interesting, but I expect next week for Sasha Banks to finally make her return to WWE, or her return to SmackDown, because it's her hometown of Boston, and WWE needs her to, set up Elimination Chamber, since they're going to have no time. They only have 2 shows, after Super Showdown to build towards Elimination Chamber. All right, that's my thoughts on that. So next up, we had a Sympathy of Destruction match between Strowman and Elias going up against Nakamura and Cesaro with Sami Zayn at ringside. Now, I'm going to give you, this match props. It wasn't perfect or anything like that. It was very gimmicky. You guys could tell. Sympathy of Destruction match. Basically, it was just a street fight. Or no, it was a false count anywhere match with musical instruments all over the ring. And basically, Michael Cole said this was the first ever Sympathy of Destruction match. This is actually the second Sympathy of Destruction match in WWE history. But anyway, Sami Zayn interfered, of course, in this match, and that was legal, because this was no rules. This was false count anywhere, no disqualifications, anything like that. Sami Zayn blasted a keyboard to the back of Strowman to allow the heels to get the upper hand. And basically, the match ended. Nakamura tried to hit a Kinshasa on Elias with a gong, but he missed. And Sami Zayn was using. Not Sami Zayn. Nakamura was using. What's the things you use to hit a gong? The mallets. He was using the mallets like it was nunchucks, man. Like Nakamura knows how to use nunchucks, man. That guy's dangerous. He's already a vicious kicker, Now he knows how to use nunchucks. Please, I'll hire Nakamura to be my bodyguard any day. But Elias dodges the Kinshasa, and then basically Strowman re-enters the match, and there was a point in this match where Cesaro and Nakamura did a double suplex to Strowman onto I think a cello, which was actually looked kind of vicious, because the cello just snapped in half on impact. And then basically once Strowman got in, Strowman did a running power slam onto a piano, which looked kind of vicious, while Elias on the other side of the ring did an elbow through the table on Cesaro. It wasn't bad. This wasn't bad. It wasn't anything special. It was just, a gimmick match, whatever. What I do gotta say is, I think I'm not sure. I think we're getting Strowman and Nakamura at Super Showdown for the IC title, but I'm not 100% sure. If we don't get that match, it's whatever, because I believe that Nakamura and Strowman are going to be in the Universal Championship Chamber match. So Super Showdown would be, the place that makes the most sense for the rematch. But, I don't really care that much. Strowman's not losing that title. I think Strowman's most likely losing that title to Sheamus at WrestleMania. But we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see on that. Speaking of Sheamus, Sheamus did one of his promos backstage where he's in the dark lighting and he has his music going on in the background. Basically, Sheamus just goes on to say he's going to be in the Elimination Chamber match, and that's where he's going to take out all of the SmackDown superstars and assert his dominance. So we'll have to wait and see on that. So most likely, the competitors for the Elimination Chamber Universal title match will probably be Sheamus, Strowman, Nakamura, probably Baron Corbin, Roman Reigns, and I think probably either Daniel Bryan or Kofi Kingston. We'll have to wait and see on that. I would do Elimination Chamber qualifying matches to determine who would be in the chamber. But I don't know if WWE's going to even have time to do that when they only have 2 shows after Super Showdown to build towards the Elimination Chamber. Also, on Elias's end, it's been, and we talked about this a little bit on the Monday Night Raw review, with John Cena coming back next week, it's been rumored that Cena's going to face Elias at WrestleMania. And I think that is a terrible idea for multiple reasons. Elias is succeeding right now as a babyface. What, are you going to turn Elias heel again? Again? They did this last year. If you guys remember, last year, around this time, Elias was a babyface. He was going after the IC Championship. I don't remember who was the Intercontinental Champion at that time. It was a heel. I just don't remember who it was. It may have been... No, not like the name's not coming to my head right now. But who did Finn? I'm trying to remember. Who did Finn Balor defeat for the IC Championship? Let me search that up. It's now it's bothering me. See, this is what happens when I start thinking. All right. I'm gonna find this out right now as I'm recording. Who did Finn Balor beat for the IC Championship? It was Bobby Lashley. There we go. It was Bobby Lashley. Yeah. Yeah, remember last year they were building Elias up for the IC Championship, but I thought there was a chance because Elias was pretty hot as a babyface at that time. I thought they were gonna build towards maybe Elias being the one to defeat Lashley for the IC Championship. Instead, they went with Balor, of course. But then they turned Elias heel a couple weeks before WrestleMania, and then they fed him to John Cena at WrestleMania. Even though we had that tremendous Thugonomics segment, still, you guys can see, that that wasn't a good decision. It wasn't. Now here we are, a year later, and it seems like WWE's going to do the same thing. Elias is a babyface now. Are you gonna have a babyface Elias go up against John Cena at WrestleMania? I don't want to see that. I know you guys don't want to see that either. I don't want to see Elias. I don't want to see Elias versus John Cena. Period. We've seen that the last 2 years at WrestleMania. Remember when John Cena buried Elias? When right before we had Cena versus Taker at WrestleMania 34, and then last year with the Thugonomics segment. Like, no, we don't need John Cena versus Elias at WrestleMania again. All right? No. Cena should be facing somebody big, a big name at WrestleMania. I don't know who, because if you look at the SmackDown roster, there's not many big names that Cena could go up against. I would take Cena versus The Fiend any day of the week. But, it looks like we're getting Roman versus The Fiend, unfortunately. But I don't know. We'll find out next week. We'll see where WWE's going with Cena's WrestleMania opponent. I'm just hoping it's not Elias. It's not good for Cena. It's not good for Elias. It's not good for WrestleMania. All right? No. Elias is doing great as a babyface right now. He's succeeding. He's getting TV time. He's actually wrestling. He's getting over. No. Doing Elias versus Cena at WrestleMania is not a good idea. And I'm excited to see John Cena next week, but I'm just hoping they're not bringing him back just to have him go up against Elias at WrestleMania. That would be such a waste of all of our time. Next up, we had a moment of bliss with the Bella Twins. And I just got to say this. I like Alexa Bliss. She's one of the nicest people I've ever met. I've met her twice. But, I can't stand the way WWE books her. All right? I can't. I just can't. And then The Bella Twins, I'll say this about the Bella Twins. Brie Bella is absolute cringe in the ring. Like, she's terrible in the ring. Nikki Bella is actually decent. Nikki Bella is not bad in the ring. I don't mind her that much. I hated when we had Nikki Bella versus Ronda Rousey at Evolution last year. That was absolutely terrible. But I don't really hate Nikki Bella. All right. But um but the Bella Twins were announced to be inducted into the Hall of Fame this week. And as much as I'm not a big fan of the Bella Twins, I don't hate Nikki that much. I can't stand Brie. I can't stand Brie. Nikki, she's like 50-50 to me. She's decent. But as much as I'm not a big fan of the Bella Twins, they deserve to be in the WWE Hall of Fame. They helped pave the way. Even though the women's revolution has been defined and led by, Sasha Banks, Becky, and Bayley, and Charlotte, Asuka, Ronda, those names. But the Bella Twins helped put that into motion. What they've done for WWE, wherever the Bella Twins go, they're pretty well known in pop culture. They're big stars because of what they did in WWE, and I gotta give them props. I gotta give respect where respect is due. And as much as I'm not a super fan of them, I'm not gonna sit here and then trash on them just because I don't like them that much. Their impact to WWE is huge. Wherever they go, they promote WWE. No matter if it's Dancing with the Stars or their Total Bellas reality show or Birdie B or whatever they're doing, they always help promote WWE. They've been big advocates for the women's division. I remember last year when the rumor was they were gonna have the Bella Twins come back to face Sasha and Bayley at WrestleMania. That would have been a huge match. Like, that would have been something I would like to see. I wouldn't want to see the Bella Twins beat Sasha and Bayley, but I would definitely like to see that match between those two teams. Now, of course, the Bella Twins are retired, because Nikki can't wrestle anymore. Plus, Nikki's getting married. They're both having kids due like a week and a half outside, of one another. So, I'm happy for them. I'm happy for everything going on in their personal lives. I do have one thing I'll say. I want John Cena to be the guy to induct the Bella Twins into the Hall of Fame. We've heard everything about John and Nikki. They're not together anymore. The engagement got caught off. They've both moved on. I've heard rumors that Cena's now engaged to his new girlfriend, and we know Nikki, she's pregnant and she's engaged. But I would love that. Just for the sheer entertainment value. I would love for us to get Cena and Cena be the one to induct the Bella Twins into the Hall of Fame. It'll most likely probably be Daniel Bryan, but still, I just want that for the pure entertainment value. Speaking of Daniel Bryan had a match with Heath Slater tonight, a rematch, which we'll talk about in just a moment. But before the match, after the Moment Bliss segment, nothing happened in the segment. It was legit a waste of time. You had the Bella Twins just sucking up to Alexa Bliss of how great she is. Oh, the first female to have her own talk show in WWE history. Like, no one gives a fuck. I don't give a fuck. You don't give a fuck. Like, shut up. But anyway, Daniel Bryan came up with Birdie B. And Birdie B's, very beautiful. She looks just like Daniel. Just like Daniel. I don't see any of Brie and Birdie. Birdie looks just like Daniel. Just a female version. But honestly, this segment did nothing. It was like, you could have had the Bella Twins, appear via satellite and do some video. This did nothing. It did nothing at all. It was just them coming out like, hey, we're getting inducted to the Hall of Fame. Whatever. That was it. Like, wow. Anyway, we had Daniel Bryan versus Heath Slater. This was a rematch of what we saw a couple weeks ago. The only change here is Drew Gulak. I don't know why the hell they were doing this. Drew Gulak, a jobber on WWE TV. I wish that Drew Gulak could get sent back to NXT. Because the guy was doing great in NXT as Cruiserweight Champion. And he was succeeding. And he gets called up to the main roster in the draft. and he is just a jobber. They had Drew Gulak actually go up to Daniel Bryan um, before the match, and he was like, "Yeah, I watch your matches with the Fiend, and I have a lot of tips. I have a lot of information, a lot of things you could do better." And I was like, "Wow." Daniel was like, "Really? No, no, no. Why don't you take those tips and give them to Heath Slater, who's going to be facing me tonight?" This didn't mean nothing. I understand why, because Daniel Bryan's not going to Saudi Arabia. Daniel Bryan is known for not wrestling at Super Showdown or a crowd. He's never done it before. I don't expect him to do it going into the future. I'm not really sure why. I know it probably has some kind of moral reason for it. I've never looked into it, but kind of makes sense. I still have no idea what they're gonna do with Daniel Bryan going into WrestleMania. I think there's one or two options, either you or three options I can see Daniel doing. You could put Daniel back into the WWE Universal Championship picture, because I will take at this point I will take anything, you know. I will take anything that that's not Dan that's not Roman versus the Fiend. I will take anything that's not that at this point. You know what I mean? Um, I would love some kind of combination of Cena, Roman, the Fiend, and Daniel. Maybe like a fatal four way or a triple threat, something like that. Because it's already been announced that Goldberg and Triple H, they're not scheduled to have WrestleMania matches. I'm not surprised about Goldberg, but Triple H, that surprised me. You know, especially since Triple H has been, a staple at WrestleMania just as much as The Undertaker has over the last, 3 decades. It doesn't feel like WrestleMania without a Triple H or an Undertaker match, even though I think we're getting Taker and Styles. But you guys get my point. Um, but when I look at things in this regard, I think you put Bryan in the Universal title picture, right? You do a triple threat or a fatal four way with Cena, Roman, Bryan, and the Fiend, or you can put him in the IC title picture, right? You can put Bryan against Strowman, Bryan versus Sheamus, or do a triple threat, or the last option, which would be, I think, maybe the most creative. Give us Daniel Bryan, and you can have Daniel Bryan team up with Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe to go up against Rollins and AOP. Because I personally think most likely we're gonna see Daniel Bryan get moved to Monday Night Raw. I think it's gonna happen. Bryan's been on SmackDown since 2016, since the initial WWE draft, the initial brand split 4 years ago. He spent all his time on SmackDown as manager. He's been a wrestler since he came back, 2 years ago. It was crazy how much time flies. But I think it's most likely that, Bryan gets moved back over to Monday Night Raw. I definitely think a change of scenery would be nice for him. And definitely there's a lot of opponents you can have him go up against on Raw. Imagine a Daniel Bryan, Drew McIntyre feud. Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles can go up against each other again. Daniel Bryan and Randy Orton again. You can give me Daniel Bryan versus Seth Rollins. There's a lot of stuff you can do with Daniel Bryan on Monday Night Raw. A lot, especially now that he's a babyface again. So definitely if you have like Bryan team up with Kevin Owens and Joe to go up against AOP, Murphy, and Seth, hey, it would be unexpected and it would kind of be a good way to transition Bryan from SmackDown to Raw, since we're gonna have the superstar shakeup the week after WrestleMania. But that's just my opinion on that. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments section. Next up, of course, Bryan defeats Heath Slater easily. No surprise there. Then we had Naomi versus Carmela, number one contenders match. This would determine Bayley's opponent. for Super Showdown. I didn't really care about this because let's be honest, the match wasn't bad. It wasn't anything that got me jumping out of my seats. Bailey versus Carmela was really good last week, really good. But let's be serious here. Naomi versus Bailey, Carmela versus Bailey. It doesn't matter because neither one is gonna defeat Bailey at Super Showdown. Bailey's not losing at Super Showdown. You know what's gonna happen is Bailey's gonna defeat Naomi at Super Showdown. She's gonna go to Elimination Chamber. That's where we're gonna finally see Sasha versus Bailey be set up. Then we're gonna go to WrestleMania and have Sasha versus Bailey finally on the big stage, where Sasha will finally get her big WrestleMania moment. It's that simple. As much as I would like to see more of a Naomi and Bailey feud, I especially want to see a Naomi and Sasha feud. And yes, Naomi and Carmela are both decent, and I'm happy they got time in this match. I'm happy that they got to tell their story, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because nor Naomi nor Carmela, neither one is becoming champion anytime soon. So it is what it is. All right, Naomi won the match, and I think I don't know what's gonna happen because Naomi versus Bailey, that on paper that sounds like a really good match, but it's Saudi Arabia, and we know how Saudi Arabia is about women defending their titles, or not, not defending their title, but women's wrestling in general. They were lucky to get Lacey Evans and Natalya at Crown Jewel. It was a last minute thing, so we'll have to wait and see. I don't know if they're gonna allow Bailey and Naomi go out there and have a full force match. We'll have to wait and see. I wish them the best of luck, but at the end of the day, Bailey's walking in and she's walking out of Saudi Arabia, still SmackDown Women's Champion. Next up, and last but not least, we had Goldberg versus The Fiend. All right, Goldberg returns and counters The Fiend. This was nothing special. I talked about this at the beginning of the podcast. This was nothing special. Nothing happened here, and this happened very quickly because I don't know if the Naomi and Carmella match went too long, but legit right after this match, they went to commercial, came back. There was like 8 minutes left in the show. Goldberg spent 2 of those minutes doing his entrance. So by the time Goldberg started speaking, there was only about 5 minutes left in the show. So Goldberg does his entrance, and basically he got a huge reaction, but he didn't really say much. He basically said, Bray Wyatt, you're next. But then the Firefly Funhouse comes on, and we see the Fiend. He's basically, he has like a toolbox and stuff like that. It looks like he's making room on his wall for where he's gonna put Goldberg's picture once he defeats him at Super Showdown. Basically, Goldberg doesn't really care. Goldberg's like, all right, I don't care about your games. All I want you to know is I'm taking the Universal Championship from you at Super Showdown. And then the Fiend's like, or Bray's like, oh, Goldberg does not know him, and he will not be taking anything. So for us to get to know each other, why don't I introduce you to all my friends? So he goes through all the members of the Firefly Funhouse, and then lastly, he says the person who wants to meet you the most, the Fiend. And then the Fiend's music comes on, and then he appears behind Goldberg. Goldberg saw it coming from a mile away, because Goldberg's like, oh, the Fiend, you're here, and you're right behind me. All right, Goldberg wasn't fazed by the Fiend at all, and I could tell by the distance they had the Fiend and the Goldberg at. They weren't like right into each other's face; they were apart. So I could tell they were setting up Goldberg for the spear. All right, and out of nowhere, Goldberg hits a spear on the Fiend. Michael Cole's going crazy, blah blah blah, and I'm over here saying, you just basically spoiled half your match for Super Showdown. You just spoiled half your match for Super Showdown. You know what I mean? Like, oh my goodness. Like, Because let's be honest here, Goldberg's not gonna win. Goldberg's gonna hit a bunch of spears, maybe a jackhammer, and Fiend's gonna kick out at one, and then he's gonna hit the Sister Abigail, hit the Mandible Clutch, and get the win. It's that simple. Goldberg's not winning at Super Showdown. He's not. We all know this. You know, I just find it funny how basically they revealed half the match because Goldberg only does two moves now: spear and jackhammer. That's about it. But after Goldberg does the spear, he looks like he's setting up for another one, but the Fiend got up very quickly. Like the spear barely phased him, and Goldberg. And I kind of like this. Goldberg and the Fiend, they're going up against each other. They're both laughing. Goldberg's like, "Okay, let's go, boy, let's go." But then the music hits once again. The lights go dark, and then the Fiend is gone. Then Goldberg celebrates that in the show. I'm not surprised, legit. If you had told me that this was gonna happen before the show, I probably wouldn't have watched because I was not surprised. Everything they did in this segment, I expected. Nothing surprised me here. I knew they weren't going to have the Fiend look better than Goldberg. I knew they were going to have Goldberg look strong going into Super Showdown. Because why wouldn't they? You're not going to have the Fiend put Goldberg in the Mandible Claw before Super Showdown. You're not. But either way, it was a decent segment. It did its job. It built towards Super Showdown, and at the end of the day, that's what it. The show wasn't terrible tonight, but it really wasn't that good. I didn't really care as much. I'm just really, I'm not usually excited. Unless it's like NXT, but I'm actually really excited for SmackDown next week. SmackDown in Boston. Sasha Banks, man. Sasha's hometown. Hopefully Sasha gets that reception in the TD Garden. I can't wait to hear it. Also, Cena finally making his return to WWE. I cannot wait for that. It's going to be an exciting night next week. All right. Definitely, I don't know. I just want you guys to know I don't really know what I'm going to do for the SmackDown review. Because if I do, in fact, go to the TD Garden next week, for the show, I don't know, because it's traffic and all that. I don't know if I'm gonna do a review. I might do a review on the road, as I'm driving. Maybe, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see on that. But in other words, that's about it for SmackDown Live tonight. So we have Super Showdown next week, next Thursday. I'm not gonna do a live stream. I probably, unless the show is like super bad, something like that, I probably will do a Super Showdown review Thursday night, because I work in the afternoon, so doing a Super Showdown review in the afternoon is probably not going to happen. It's not going to be possible. But I will most likely do a Super Showdown review probably Thursday night. Probably maybe like around 10 or 11. So definitely, if you guys want to see that, make sure you guys stick around. But yeah, in terms of scheduling, I got a lot planned on the channel the next couple of weeks. I'm trying to hit 4K. I think we could definitely do it because I have a lot of cool videos coming out. Super Dragon Ball Heroes Big Bang Mission, or no, Super Dragon Ball Heroes, the special episode, Time Patrol versus the Dark Demon Realm. I have that reaction that's going to be coming up tomorrow night. Also on Saturday, we have My Hero Academia Season 4, Episode 19. Alright, we also have My Hero Academia Season 4, Episode 20 spoilers, which I cover each and every single week right here on the channel. Sunday, I might not have I probably won't have a video since I'm planning on posting like 2 or 3 videos tomorrow anyway. Also, Monday, of course. Monday Night Raw review, of course. Wednesday, I have My Hero Academia. I'm going to see My Hero Academia Heroes Rising, the new My Hero Academia film. I'm really excited to see that in theaters. So I'll probably have a reaction and a review on that after I come back from the movie. Thursday, of course, most likely, unless something changes, most likely we'll have our Super Showdown review. And then next week, next Friday, I'll have a vlog from the TD Garden if I'm there, which I most likely will be And that's about it. That's about it. But in other words, guys, thank you guys for the love and support. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for coming to the review tonight. I hope to see you guys back here on Monday for Raw, Super Showdown review on Thursday, and SmackDown next week. We are on the road to WrestleMania, man. Once Super Showdown passes, the road to WrestleMania really begins. And WrestleMania, we only got about 5 weeks after Super Showdown to go till WrestleMania. Other than that, guys, that's about all I got for you guys today. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. If you guys enjoyed, enable notifications by clicking the bar next to my name, Fitzmonk TV, so you guys are notified every time I post a new video. Thank you guys for everything. I'll see you guys later. Follow me on social media. The links are in the description down below. Have a great night, guys. Peace.